All right, once again, it's time for Off the Top Sportscast. I'm John, and that guy right there is Roy. And we have a special guest with us today. We have Gary, a lifelong Raiders fan. Gary, go ahead and tell us your sports resume.
Let's go. Let's go. One time for all the Raider fans out there. I've been a Raider fan all my life. And I'm going back, I don't have to go back too far, but the days of Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson. And I've been a big fan of Bo Jackson for a very long time. Howie Long and the rest of them guys, man. And so my father, he's a big time Raider fan, and also my little brother. And so we've been watching the Raiders for a very long time. Whether it's the Oakland Raiders, the Los Angeles Raiders, and the Las Vegas Raiders, we're going to follow our boys all the way to the end. So I'm happy to be here with you guys on Off the Top podcast, and let's talk about some Raiders football.
All right. So you were inherited into the Raider Nation. It was what we like to see. Roy, you have our topic for today. A couple of Raiders questions, Raiders centric today. And first, everybody like and subscribe, and go ahead. We love the comments. We love the interaction. Roy, what's the first question?
Gary, a Raider fan. This is an interesting year for for the Raiders when you think of what they're going to be doing. So we're going to start off with, I think, one of the crucial positions, that is quarterback. Mm-hmm. So you have taken technically a journeyman quarterback. Now, he has some starting ability. He started off with the Jacksonville. He's been with the Eagles. He's been with who was he last year? The Colts last year. Mm-hmm. And he's a filler. And he's done well at some times. But the question is he the Raiders' man? How do you feel about that? Or are you already looking to 2025? So how do you feel about this year with Minshew? You gave him the key to the Beamer.
Man, that's a really good question, Roy. We got the gunslinger, and we know what he is. We know what he brings to the table. And yes, a journeyman, that's for sure. And the Raiders, they're going to go with them, right? We rolling the dice. To be honest with you, I thought that we were going to give the keys to AOC, Aiden O'Connell, as a young man coming in and learning the game and the speed of the game. So they decided to go with Gardner Minshew. Some things that I do like about him, I do like that he's a gamer. People recognize that about him. He does have mobility, so he can get out of the pocket and those things. But of course, there's always that risk when you have a quarterback that feels the heat and he starts to scramble right. When that decision making comes into play, does he throw across his body? He made some good plays, as we know that he beat us last year, and I'll never forget that. And so I'm really sore about that. But in that game, he really showed the type of quarterback that he could be. Now, is he the man of the future? Absolutely not. But what I do appreciate what AP has said is that, we want to get off to a fast start because our schedule is pretty difficult. So he kind of broke it up into quarters. And so we're going to see what the veteran can do. Of course, coming in and battling against Aiden O'Connell, who I think has a lot of upside in his game. They decided to go with the veteran who's been around a little longer and has seen these different defenses and everything like that. So I'm all aboard until, if the wagon the wheels falls off the wagon a little bit, then we would have to make the change. But to answer your question about 2025, can't look forward to 2025. We had 2024 to make sure that we take care of business. And I believe that we have all the tools. We have a good defense. We have plenty of weapons on offense in order to ride the waves of a full NFL season. So we're looking forward to that.
I thought it was interesting, the pickup of Gardner Minshew. I actually liked it for a couple of different things. I think Aiden O'Connell, he showed a little bit of something. And he showed it in a very, very rough time. You guys were transitioning almost everything all at once. So he did show me something. I just looked up some stats. He had 2,200 yards, over 2,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and a 83 passer rating. For when he came in, what they were dealing with, the changes and everything that was going on, that's not that bad to me. It showed promise. Just so we can compare the two, Gardner Minshew, he had 3,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. So 2 more touchdowns, 2 more interceptions, almost exactly the same passer rating. What I do like about Gardner is he's not afraid to throw it. Sometimes you get those backups in there and they don't want to lose the job, so they don't try to win the job. They just worry about not losing the job. And I think he does a good job of just going in there and playing, you know. But I think next year is going to be very interesting to see what you guys end up doing at that quarterback spot, because I think next year could be a great year to pick up a quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, go ahead, Roy.
No, I agree. The one thing I say about the Minshew, he's not the final piece. We all know that. We agree. What he is, though, is a good piece of someone who's gritty. I like that grittiness. Like you said, he's not scared to throw. And I think the good thing is you're not bringing in someone that you could went, well, we got this quarterback, he's the future, and all. No, everybody knows. The Raider Nation knows he's just a piece, plug, let's say, a cork to hold the crack that's got some leakage here. They're all looking for the possible coming of an heir apparent, either in a free agency, maybe a trade, or a rookie. And I personally think the Raiders are going to do a little bit of both. I think they're going to look, if they can, to get the next heir apparent. And I think they're going to pick up a quarterback. And there's a lot of quarterbacks out there, one with the last name Sanders, and you never know. Maybe he comes along. That he's already wearing black with Colorado. He's a big boy. He put on a little bit of weight. Could use a little seasoning, but you never know. That would be something else for Raider Nation. How's that sound?
Hey, Shedeur in Vegas. Headlines, baby. That's a headline maker right there.
I do like the sound of that. I do like the sound of that. But here's my caveat when it comes to the quarterback. And John, you can chime in. And this is where my thought process comes in, and it has to do with quarterback development, right? Mm-hmm. Giving a young man time to learn the speed of the game and kind of take the lumps, right? Like, I give you an example, right? When Peyton Manning first came into the league, his first year, oh man, he was bad. He was as bad as it gets. He threw so many picks. And so, you have to allow these young people, especially quarterbacks, to come in and learn the speed of the game. Tom Brady, he said something the other day. He said that it's a sad thing to see where, these young quarterbacks are not given the time that they need in order to develop and learn the game. And I think that's very, very true. And just to go back to your point, John, about Aiden O'Connell and what he had dealt with and the changes that we were going through. We had McDaniels, and then, we went through a new offensive coordinator and all these things that are going through. And he's a young man that had to learn the speed of the game. And so to me, he showed a lot of moxie. He showed great poise for a young man. Now, has he made mistakes? Yes, absolutely. But every rookie does. So whether it's him, whether it's we go next year, 2025, as you mentioned, Roy, about Shedeur Sanders, he comes in, guess what? He's a rookie too that has to come in and learn the game. He's going to make mistakes. But we live in a world, right? There you need instant results, right? Coaches, they get fired after a year or two. And so they're trying to produce these results. But I guess the bad thing about that is that they're not allowing these QBs the time to develop. And so hopefully that doesn't happen if we do pick up a Shedeur Sanders, or if AOC gets a chance again, what can we see in him?
I'll tell you right now, since you brought up coaching, a little bit of a pivot, but on the same lines. I like what you guys got with Pierce right now.
Yeah.
I really like what he's doing. I like the confidence that he's instilled. And the move of Gardner Minshew as a starter tells me two things. One is that he's not complacent because he could have let O'Connell ride it out and had the built-in excuse of first year quarterback, young quarterback, all those type of things.
Right.
But he was striving for more, even if it's just incrementally. Give me a little bit more. Give me Minshew, right? I also like what Pierce has done with your defense. I think, in my eyes, your defense is very underrated. What do you think about the addition of Christian Wilkinson to that defensive line?
Man, to have Christian Wilkinson kind of anchoring that line, and you pair him up with, in my eyes, one of the best defensive ends in the game, and Max Crosby, Mad Max, that's only going to do good, right? Because it's a trickle-down effect. If you have your big boys in the front that can put the pressure on the QB, stop the run, that's going to make it better for the linebackers, right? It's also going to make it better on the back end with the defensive backs. And so I think the addition of Christian Wilkinson and what he brings to the table is only going to make this defense that much more effective. And of course, we don't want to forget about Malcolm Kuntz on the other side as well. And so I do agree with you. It's underrated, but I also appreciate the fact that, with Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator, we have these core group of guys that play together. And so there's a thing to be said about continuity. Continuity is so good. Having Jack Jones, I know we just picked him up last year. What a tremendous pickup with him as well. But, with the rest of these guys and them gelling together, I look forward to us doing some great things, especially defensively.
And I'll tell you a guy that I love and to me has one of the best football names in history, Diablo Divine, that linebacker. He plays sideline to sideline, man, better than anybody else. He was hurt, came in, I think in maybe half the season, and in that half a season, he had 100 tackles. I mean, he's an impressive linebacker. And I'm not. Maybe it's all the pressure up front that those are the stars. But I tell you, I take him as a linebacker, any day.
Yeah, I agree with that. For a person that came off injury and become a tackling machine, we need guys like that. Especially when you have to deal with quarterbacks that run. I mean, just think who we face in the AFC West. We got to have good tackling linebackers. I like Robert Spillane as well. He always seems to be around the football. He has a knack for it. He may not be as good in coverage, but stopping the run is where it's at as well. So as we face these different teams with these that got good running strong games, these linebackers are they have to be up to the task, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what we can do this year.
Now, do you think some of them, when you look at the NFL rating, they got really the Raiders kind of mid-level in defensive rating. You're looking at all the teams, they're somewhere between that 14 and 16 when you talk about ranking. Do you think that that's a fair assessment, for the Raiders as a team?
I mean, I think it's respectable, right? Every year is different. So we may be 14 and 16, but once they put the pads on, the season begins, then we'll have to go out and show them, where we truly will be. And so I guess looking at the schedule that we have, it is a really rough schedule. And so our defense will surely be tested. And so, you're dealing with the likes of Patrick Mahomes. We also have to play the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, and all these other running quarterbacks. Yeah, our defense will be tested. So I don't really get into the rankings like that as some people like to look at it and say, oh, well, they're not respecting the Raiders and this and that there. Well, we just don't know. That's why they say any given Sunday. So when they put them pads on and you between those lines, and then, we'll see which team come out on top.
Yeah, it is difficult to be when you have to go against a guy like Pat twice, go against a guy like Herbert twice, and then go against any other AFC team. It's difficult. It's difficult to be ranked high, um, just because just wrangling those guys, just keeping them where you want them to be so you can hit them is difficult. Even though I do think that Crosby does a really good job of getting in Pat's in his zone and not making him comfortable for sure, which is a big bonus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
let's talk about real quick. Let's pivot a little bit about another position that I think is a key position that I think the Raiders took a hit big time in, and that's running back. I think running back. Listen, that was my guy. I thought he was. I thought they should have. That would have been another lockdown for me, no matter
Yes.
what, to make him happy. But now, when you look at who they got, your starting running back is about 3 years. He came on. He's a Georgia alum. He filled in when Jacobs went down, but it's kind of a little bit worrisome. Quarterback, 5 years, maybe Minshew, does great, but we got a running back side that's a little bit on the weak side, and if the offensive line is not holding up, that could be this could be a bad time. What do you think about the running back situation of the Raiders this year?
Yeah, I know the Raiders. They're putting a lot of trust in Zeus. They putting a lot of trust in him, man. And we also drafted Dylan Laube, and we also picked up Madison as well from the Vikings. And so, of course, running back by committee. Last year, Zeus he did show that he has the power to run between the tackles. I don't know necessarily if the vision is there, but I guess that what happen over time. Um, but I think what also is key, as you had mentioned, Roy, is that the O-line, they have to create those lanes. They have to block. Because if we can't run the football, then we're just like we'll be last year. But we did take a hit when we lost Josh Jacobs, and I wish we would have brought him back because he was my guy. He was my guy. He has really good vision. I love his breakaway speed. And he's one person that doesn't fall easily. As expression go, he falls forward. And so even if you hit him, he's be sure to gain 2 or 3 yards. And so but we're gonna see how it goes with White and Madison, and look forward to Dylan Laube coming in also as a change of pace back, and see how he handles the football league as well.
I did like what I saw from White last year, truthfully. I think he might have a breakout year. It's hard to break out when the offense is kind of stuttering and the ball's not in the air. And I think what's going to help that this year is your first round pickup in the draft this year was the one and only Brock Bowers, the highly touted. Everybody looking forward to Brock coming in and showing what he can do. And I think that should help in that run game because when you play action with a guy like Brock Bowers out there, you got to respect it. You're going to see linebackers not wanting to get cooked and over pursuing Brock a little bit. And hopefully White can exploit that. But tell me a little bit about the feelings. Is that the guy you wanted when it came to draft day, or at least when it came down to it with all the options that were left? I know, you can want, everybody wants to, I want Malik Neighbors, but if he's not there, there's nothing you can do about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that whole draft process was crazy because, we were thinking that we were going to move up, get a quarterback, but we would have to give up so much in order to move up, and we just didn't know where we were going to get. And so when the pick came in and we picked up Brock Bowers, I'm not going to lie, John, I was baffled. I was so baffled. I was saying to myself, wow, do we really need a tight end? We have Myers. And
Yeah,
and for them to take the approach of the best on the board at the time, I think that was a solid move. So now we have a two-headed monster, right? With Brock Bowers, excuse me, and Myers as well. So now, as you mentioned, this is going to help the offense as well, right? Because now pick your poison. We have Jacoby Myers out there and Davante Adams. Now we have two tight ends that not only can get open, but they can block as well. And so
that's right.
I think it makes us that much more dangerous. So then when the play action is there, oh boy, it's going to open some things up. So I'm looking forward to see what Brock Bowers does. I'm very excited to have him. I hear he was doing very well in camp. He wasn't he I think he got hurt a little bit, but we'll see what happens, and we're looking forward to see how they utilize all these weapons here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people I thought he was a great talent at Georgia. You have, I think the football having two good tight ends is important. It's kind of becoming a little bit of a wave of that two tight end set. So I think the Raiders, even with Minshew as a quarterback, may be the smartest thing to do. Because again, you got to, again, if your offensive line is not holding up, let's just say, you got to wait for Dante Adams to get open. That takes time. Where now you go, okay, I can now dish off probably a little shorter, having one kind of crossing over, one going more and seeing what we got. So I think it's smart of the Raiders, and I think it was a value. Now, they are saying he got a little bit of a foot injury. AP saying he's looking good. He's going to be there, and you don't mess that up. Let him heal up. Don't play him. Get him to the starting line. But I do think it is again, you want pieces out there. Yeah, Raiders are going to need some offensive line. I think they're going to look at that, picking that up next year. I think they're going to look for that. I think they're going to look for a quarterback next year. I think they're going to be high on that. That's going to be priority number one. But I think Brock was, man, he was a little, man, fast guy. Even more deceptive as I think a tight end. That he's got some good wide receiver ability to get open. So I think you're going to see. I think he's going to pay off in some big dividends when we look at. I think for the Raiders, I'm excited to see him play.
You know what I say about if you don't have the quarterback, the elite quarterback, to make something crazy happen, those crazy plays that we all know from these quarterbacks these days that you just go, man, that was done. What you want from a young quarterback or maybe not a quarterback as high of a caliber is to give them easy answers. And easy answers is having two good, big targets as tight end. And having a guy like Davante Adams that his catch radius is like a 9-foot circle around him. You know what I mean? So I think it's good because it's easy answers. It makes sense from a coaching aspect to me to give guys, let's break this offense down simply. And in my eyes, when I look at your offense, I'm going, get me in the red zone, baby. And when you get in the red zone, defense will not be able to target what you guys are doing. It's going to be pandemonium in the red zone.
Yeah, I think you agree.
Absolutely. And we have the weapons. I know we haven't mentioned it, but Trey Tucker is a young guy who's emerged. He has the speed, and as you know, we love our guys that can run. And so we're actually going to see that, and it's going to be nice to see how our offense comes together and how much points we're going to put up on the board. So pick your poison. Double team Davante, you're going to have somebody running free. So we'll see.
That's right.
You are the Raider fan, and we're going to give you the opportunity to play today, right now, GM. And we're not talking about this year because it's done. Next year, give me, let's say, if you were to do some moving and shaking and baking, give me 3 GM moves that you say, or 2 or whatever you want, tell me, hey, this got to be the Raiders. This is what we're doing on the GM list. We're going to try to do this. What would that be?
All right, I'm gonna just name one move.
One move. That's fine. That's fine.
And
Love
this
it.
is because, because of all the pieces that we have in place, right? All the pieces that we have with Devontae Adams, he's not getting any younger, right? We want to win now. And for the fact that we need us a good quarterback, I'm making a move to get Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to have Devontae Adams get on the phone and say, hey, let's make this happen. Because if you put that man on this Raider roster with Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, and Trey Tucker, oh, that's all we need. Now, if we can get him, and then we can draft a quarterback. I won't even care. But to have that veteran Aaron Rodgers, I don't see why he wouldn't want to come to Vegas. So that is the one move. That's my GM move right there for 2025. I'm not looking to a rookie. I'm looking to bring Aaron Rodgers.
Out of all of the things I thought you could say,
COVID.
out of all of the things I thought he was going to say, it was not that.
It was not Aaron Rodgers.
Let's go.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well,
you need a quarterback. I'm not mad at you. You need that.
Hey, that wasn't out of the blue, and I like the thought. Take a big swing there. Hey, guys, we appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. I know it might have ran a little long, but when we're talking about one team and the fandom and hysteria from one fan, we got to let them talk it out, baby. So please hit subscribe and go ahead and give us your comments. What do you think, Raider Nation? This is your time. Go ahead and tell us what you think about what your general manager move would be next year and what you guys think your records is going to be. Roy, Gary, thank you so much for being with us today, man. You were our first guest on Off the Top Sportscast, and I think you did a great job.
Thank you very much for having me. Off the Top Sportcast podcast. I'm so happy to sit here and talk football with you guys, especially Raiders football. So all my Raider fans, they're out there in the black hole. You know it's getting ready to go down. And can I get it one good time? Let's go.
Good job.
Roy.
Good job. We're looking forward. We're bringing you back. We're going to see what happens. We're going to bring you back and see what happens. We're going to talk Raider Nation. We're going to talk the good, the bad, the ugly. But as always, guys, when you're out there, we always say it every time, talk to a stranger about sports today.